Right now, pests might already be quietly taking over your garden. They treat the plants you worked so hard to grow like a free buffet. They spread disease from one plant to another, and you only realize it when the whole garden is already dead. So what should you do right now? Spray everything? Use a stronger dose? Add another chemical? Stop. You may not just be killing pests, you may also be poisoning the soil, harming your pets, and killing off the natural allies that are trying to protect your garden. Today, I'm going to show you how I took back my garden just by releasing one small animal. This is a natural method a gardening expert showed me. Ladybugs. I'm going to break down 3 common misunderstandings about ladybugs that make us accidentally kill them, and I'll show you 6 ways to attract them and keep them in your garden naturally. Watch the whole video, because this may change the way you protect your garden forever. July in past years was always the time I dreaded most in Pennsylvania. It was hot, the air was humid, and mosquitoes and ticks started showing up everywhere. But the thing that annoyed me the most was right there in the garden. Some mornings, shoots that looked green and healthy the day before would be covered in aphids the next morning. The leaves started curling, the surface got sticky, and I knew if I left it for a few more days, the plants would weaken and die. I tried almost everything I knew: broad-spectrum bug spray, insecticidal soap, neem oil, even systemic treatment for plants. Every time I sprayed, the aphids clearly went down, but a few weeks later, they came back. That cycle kept going until I started feeling stuck. Every time I sprayed, they disappeared, but when I stopped spraying, they came right back. Meanwhile, bees and beneficial insects seemed to get wiped out before the aphids did. I also had to watch my dog and keep him from running through the area I had just treated. At that point, I started thinking, if I have to walk out into the garden with a spray bottle every few days, then I need a different solution. You may know me from videos about killing ticks, mosquitoes, and flies. With garden pests, I was still just a beginner, so I asked a gardening expert to come take a look. He flipped over the undersides of a few leaves, looked at the clusters of aphids, and asked, "Billy, when was the last time you saw ladybugs in this garden?" I was waiting for the name of some new pesticide. Instead, he handed me a small bag full of ladybugs. I followed the instructions, and this July, the aphids dropped noticeably. The new shoots were cleaner, the new leaves curled less, and I barely had to pick up the spray bottle. But don't turn off the video and run out to buy ladybugs just yet. I almost ruined everything, and most of those bugs could disappear after just 2 days. First, there are 3 misunderstandings we need to clear up. 3 common misunderstandings about ladybugs. Before we talk about how ladybugs help the garden, I need to clear up 3 very common misunderstandings. Because if you get just one of them wrong, you may protect the wrong bug that is eating your plants, kill the larva that is eating aphids, or waste money buying a bag of bugs that is not right for your garden. The first misunderstanding is that all ladybugs are the same. Most of us picture a ladybug as a small, round, red bug with black spots. But in America, there are hundreds of species, and they don't all do the same job. The convergent lady beetle is usually orange-red, with 2 white marks pointing toward each other right behind the head. This is a native North American species, and also the type often sold for aphid control. The pink-spotted lady beetle has a longer body, a pink-red color, and eats aphids, insect eggs, and even pollen. The spotless lady beetle has almost no spots at all, even though it is still a beneficial species. The multicolored Asian lady beetle can be yellow, orange, red, or almost black. Many of them have a mark that looks like an M or W behind the head. They eat aphids very aggressively, but they can also compete with native ladybugs and move into houses for winter in large numbers. And there are 2 members of the ladybug family you do not want to see on your crops. The Mexican bean beetle eats plants in the bean family, and the squash beetle eats plants in the squash family. So don't just look at the number of spots, look at what plant it is on and what it is eating. The second misunderstanding, and the one that makes people kill the wrong thing most often, is that a black, long, spiky creature on a leaf must be a pest. It could be a ladybug larva. The first time I saw one, I almost crushed it too. It was long, black, covered in tiny spikes with a few orange patches, and it looked like a tiny alligator crawling through the leaves. But that is not the thing eating your plant. It is eating the thing that eats your plant. Ladybugs start as yellow or orange eggs, usually laid near an aphid colony. The eggs hatch into larvae. After several molts, the larvae turn into pupae, and only then do they become the familiar round beetles. The larval stage is actually a very active aphid hunting stage. If you see a black, tiny alligator with orange patches crawling through an aphid colony, don't spray it, don't crush it. And if you see a pupa sitting still on a leaf, don't peel it off because you think it is dead. The third misunderstanding is directly tied to your money. Every bag of ladybugs sold in stores is the same. Most commercial ladybugs used outdoors in America are convergent lady beetles. They are often collected from overwintering populations in the California mountains, then kept cold and shipped out for sale. They are not necessarily raised under controlled conditions. That means some of them may be weakened during shipping. Some may carry parasites or diseases. Collecting too many can also put pressure on the populations in the places they were taken from. Now we know which ones to keep, which ones to be cautious about, and which stage we absolutely should not kill by mistake. But the more important question is still this: what can a ladybug actually do for the garden? How does it protect new shoots? How does it help reduce spraying? And why are a few aphids left behind sometimes a sign of a healthy garden? 4 benefits of ladybugs for the garden. Now we know how to identify ladybugs, avoid killing the larvae by mistake, and understand that not every species is the same. But the real reason I want to keep them in the garden comes down to 4 very clear benefits. The first benefit, and the most important one, is biological control. Basically, ladybugs hunt aphids and other soft-bodied insects right there on the plants. Aphids usually gather on new shoots and the undersides of leaves to suck plant sap. When their numbers grow fast, they can make leaves curl, twist new growth, and slow the plant down. They also leave behind a sweet, sticky liquid, and then black sooty mold can grow on the surface. Depending on the species, ladybugs may also eat mealybugs, scale insects, whiteflies, spider mites, and the eggs and young larvae of some other insects. That is also what I saw in my own garden. The leaves that had already curled did not magically straighten back out, but the new shoots started looking cleaner. Aphids went down, the sticky liquid was reduced, and the plants had a chance to keep growing. The second benefit is what nature lovers and people who do not like chemicals like me care about the most. Ladybugs help reduce the need for pesticides. When ladybugs and other natural predators are present, I don't need to spray right away every time I see a few aphids. I can watch first and see whether ladybugs, lacewings, hoverflies, or parasitic wasps show up. That way, bees and other beneficial insects are less likely to be killed by mistake. My plants, soil, and dog also have less contact with areas I had just sprayed. The third benefit is that they help the garden stay balanced instead of constantly falling into the cycle of pest outbreaks, followed by more spraying. And this is the hardest thing for someone who has done a whole insect-killing series to accept. A healthy garden still has pests. If every single aphid disappears, adult ladybugs will fly away to look for food. Females no longer have a reason to lay eggs. Newly hatched larvae also have nothing to eat. At that point, the natural predator population cannot last long-term. Balance does not mean the garden has no insects at all. It means no one species gets to take over the whole garden. The fourth benefit is smaller, but still worth knowing. Ladybugs play a role in the food chain and support pollination in a limited way. They hunt aphids, but they can also become food for birds, spiders, and dragonflies. They can also be attacked by parasitic wasps, fungi, or disease. When they visit flowers for pollen and nectar, ladybugs may accidentally carry a little pollen, but they cannot replace bees. Ladybugs are clearly useful. But if you ask me whether you should randomly buy a bag of them and release them, I'll give you an answer more complicated than just no and yes. Don't leave right now, because this will decide whether you use ladybugs the right way to save your garden or damage the ecosystem. Should you buy ladybugs and release them? Once I saw how useful ladybugs were, my first reaction was simple: buy more. I thought, if a few hundred can eat aphids, then a few thousand must clean up the whole garden. I almost turned gardening into an arms race, except this time the weapons had black spots and wings. But the expert told me something very directly. Buying ladybugs can help, but don't confuse it with a long-term solution. Most commercial ladybugs used outdoors in America are convergent lady beetles. They are often collected from overwintering sites in the West, especially California, then kept cold, bagged, and shipped out for sale. That means they are not necessarily raised in a controlled environment. When you buy a bag of ladybugs, you're not just buying an aphid-killing product. You are buying living creatures that have gone through collection, storage, and shipping. Releasing them can have a temporary effect if the plants truly have aphids. The bugs are still healthy, they are released directly near the aphid colony at dusk, the leaves are lightly moistened, and there is no pesticide residue left on the plants. But if the garden has no food, you are not preventing pests. You are just giving ladybugs a free flight. The biggest problem is that they do not belong to you. Adult ladybugs have wings. They do not understand fences, property lines, or the money you just spent. Research shows that nearly 95% can leave within 48 hours. Wild collected bugs may also be weakened, carry parasites or diseases, and may not lay eggs where they are released. So my answer is, you can buy them to deal with a specific aphid colony, but don't expect one bag of bugs to protect the garden long term. I realized I had been asking the wrong question. It was not how many ladybugs do I need to buy. It was, what do I need to change so the ones already here do not want to leave? 6 ways to attract ladybugs and keep them around. I used to think all I had to do was release ladybugs into the garden and that was it. But ladybugs do not care how much I paid for that bag. If the neighbor's yard has more food, water, and shelter, they will move without leaving a note. The first thing you need if you want to keep ladybugs around is food. For many species, the most important food is aphids and other small, soft-bodied prey. That means you should not immediately spray just because you see a few aphids. If the plant is still healthy, watch for a few more days and see whether ladybugs, lacewings, or other natural predators show up. You can also keep one less important plant as a trap plant. The goal is not to raise a whole aphid farm, but to keep a small amount so ladybugs have a reason to stay and lay eggs. I had to learn how to see 5 aphids without running straight for the spray bottle. For me, that was almost an exercise in self-control. The second thing is providing flowers, because ladybugs cannot live on aphids all year round. When prey gets scarce, adult ladybugs also use pollen and nectar as food. They like small, shallow flowers that grow in clusters and are easy to land on. In Pennsylvania, you can plant dill, cilantro, chives, yarrow, sweet alyssum, calendula, cosmos, sunflowers, or marigolds. You do not need to plant all of them. The important thing is to always have a few flowers blooming from the beginning to the end of the season. A small flower bed can sometimes keep ladybugs around longer than a bag of bugs from the store. The third thing is water, especially during hot and dry July days. You can lightly mist the leaves or use a very shallow dish with gravel and small stones. Avoid deep bowls or letting water sit for too long. The fourth thing is shelter. A little dry leaf litter, small twigs, rotting wood, wood chips, shrubs, or rock crevices can help ladybugs avoid sun, wind, and predators. I am not saying you have to let the whole garden look like you have never touched a rake. Just leave one small corner a little less disturbed. The fifth thing is giving them a place to overwinter. Do not cut every plant stem clean in the fall. Leave a few hollow sunflower stems, dry leaves, or small branches until spring. A ladybug hotel can help too, but it is not magic if there is no food or water around it. The last thing, and maybe the most important one, is do not kill the very bugs you are trying to attract. Broad-spectrum pesticides can kill both aphids and natural predators. Even diatomaceous earth, neem, insecticidal soap, or horticultural oil can cause harm if they make direct contact. Natural does not mean the product knows the difference between an aphid and a ladybug. When there is food, flowers, water, shelter, and less spraying, ladybugs finally have a reason to stay. But even if you do everything right, they still cannot solve every pest problem in the yard. That is the limit we need to be clear about in the final part. Limits you need to know about ladybugs. Before you start seeing ladybugs as an army that can save the whole garden, I need to make one thing clear. They are very useful, but they are not magic. I have made enough videos about ticks, mosquitoes, and flies to know that whenever a solution sounds too perfect, that is usually when we should lower our expectations a little. The first limit is that ladybugs do not hunt everything that crawls, flies, or bites you in the yard. They are especially useful against aphids, mealybugs, scale insects, whiteflies, spider mites, and the eggs and small young larvae of some insects. But they are not a solution for mosquitoes, ticks, houseflies, roaches, slugs, snails, adult Japanese beetles, adult stink bugs, large caterpillars, or mice. If a mosquito is biting your leg, do not stand there waiting for a ladybug to come save you. It is busy with the aphids on the rosebush. The second limit is that not every ladybug is a gardener's friend. Mexican bean beetles eat plants in the bean family. Squash beetles eat plants in the squash family. Asian lady beetles still eat aphids, but they can compete with native species and move into houses in large numbers when the weather gets cold. So do not kill one just because you do not recognize it. But do not protect one just because it is round and has spots either. The third limit is that even a garden full of ladybugs will still have aphids and other pests. Aphids can come back with the season. Weather can make them multiply fast. Ladybugs may arrive too late or not in large enough numbers. Some leaves may still get damaged before natural predators bring things under control. And this is the biggest lesson I learned. The goal is not extinction. The goal is balance. This is video 2 in my new series, After the Opossum Story. What do you think of this direction? Honestly, I think it is really interesting to realize that my garden does not only have creatures I need to drive away, it also has a whole team quietly working every day that I barely noticed before. When talking about mosquitoes, I used to see dragonflies as one of the best natural allies. But I did not expect that right there on the leaves, a tiny creature like a ladybug could also help control aphids and many other pests, giving plants a chance to recover on their own without always relying on a spray bottle. Now I want to hear your story. What problem is your garden dealing with? Do you often see aphids on new shoots? And have you ever spotted ladybugs, their larvae, or their pupae in your garden? If you have, that is a good sign. It shows that your garden has enough food and the right conditions for part of the ecosystem to work on its own. I am really glad if this video helped you see ladybugs differently or helped you avoid killing a useful ally by mistake. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and keep coming along with me. I will be exploring many more unexpected friends in this new series.